Welcome. Okay.
Welcome, welcome. Good evening, good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Welcome to the 4th annual Boston State Education for Service celebration. I'm Patricia Cronin, class of '59, Mistress of Ceremonies here tonight. Good evening, Chancellor.
Good evening.
Distinguished honorees and invited guests. I would first like to welcome Joyce, George, and Stephen into this Education for Service fraternity. As of tonight, there are 12 members, and I am so proud to stand here as one of the recipients of this honor. Boston State College was and is very close to my heart. The 4 years spent swinging and swaying on the MTA with car checks were like no others. Besides the terrific education, when I went, it was $100 a year.
What? All right, I hope there's no current students in here.
And mine was free because I had a scholarship. But the bonds of friendship were forged then. Okay? My club still meets once a month, as we have for the past 51 years.
Wow.
Last year was a highlight.
51 years.
Yes. Last year was the highlight when 11 of us went to my son's home in Florida for a week. It was a joy to see us all sitting around the dining room table at midnight, drinking a nice glass of wine and reminiscing about our days at Boston State. We had so many wonderful experiences and met so many terrific people. Each and every one of us has great respect and love for this institution. Service above self is the basis of all worthy enterprise. Our honorees have dedicated themselves to that ideal, not by words alone, but by actions. Happiness rests not with what you have, but what you enjoy, and your joyful dedication to the ideals and to the deeds of service has spread your gifts to us all. It has been said that it's not what you gather, but what you scatter that decides the kind of life you have led. The 3 individuals we are honoring this evening certainly exemplify this quote and this Education for Service award. Now I'd like to introduce a man who needs no introduction. Chancellor.
So when she said that, I said, but she's going to go on and say something else. And the reality is, you're the one who doesn't need the introduction. You're one of our 12 who've already been honored here, and we're so honored that you took time out of your schedule. You see, when you win this award, we put you to work. But this is the kind of work that I've found that so many of you in this room have been just stepping up to the plate, wanting to do and yearning to do for so long. And the wonderful thing about it is all we have to do is just ask. And I think we're getting better at that. And we're so grateful that you've been prepared for such a long time to say yes, to help, and because you know every little thing makes a difference. For those of you that I have not met, my name is Keith Motley, and I'm honored to be the 8th Chancellor here at this university. Now, you know it's a Boston State takeover in here tonight. I came in here, I got kind of nervous. I looked around, I see State College over here. I see signs that reappeared out. And I'm worried because I've been hearing stories about classmates that were in on that original journey of the signs. For those of you that don't know, there was once upon a time a sign. It said Boston State College on it. It happened to disappear and go somewhere, and legend has it that some of the people that were involved in that are in this room. About 4 years ago, I granted them amnesty, and they brought back the sign. We have had that sign under lock. We have had the sign under lock and key in the room right there, and I saw it in here tonight, and I got scared when I looked around and saw who was here. Now, let me just say, they're not on that side of the room. First of all, let me just say to all of you I haven't had a chance to say hello to, get my hug that I normally get, shake the hand that I normally shake. When I walked in this room, I was only on one mission. And that initial mission was to say hello to my beautiful wife, Angela, that's here tonight, joining us. And the reason that I had to run and do that is because I found out that the provost was coming tonight, and he happens to be a gentleman that she just truly adores, Winston Langley, who's back here. And Winston, I know would keep her great company, but then I realized that Winston was home tonight, that he was among so many that he has either taught and or had been colleagues with in the journey. And so I was so grateful to see that he is here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your lives to be with us tonight. It's my pleasure to co-host this event with the Boston State College Steering Committee and to welcome you to your university, the University of Massachusetts, Boston. I'm also delighted to be here with you as we mark the 4th time we've done this, the 4th Boston State College celebration, and the 3rd anniversary of the Education for Service Award. See, we brought you together the first year, and all we wanted to do was get you together. And then you came up with the idea of honoring those in your legacy and our legacy that were so important and had and should be honored. And so it's in your hands. But more importantly, you knew how important it is for this kind of event to happen, number one, to bring you together. But the power of that is that this event supports those students that you have paved the path for, that come to this university every day basking in your legacy of learning, and then the transforming power of the opportunity to be here and what that means to them as human beings, but also the smiles it brings to your faces when I see you, because you know you see yourself in all of the work that we're doing here. You remember what it was like to get up Huntington Avenue and to walk around the campus and see each other, knew the pride that you felt as you were getting ready to go out and conquer the world. And now that some of you have conquered the world, you continue to model for us what it means not to stop. And I think for me, as I'm getting closer to that journey, that means a lot to watch you and to know that it doesn't end when someone tells you it has to end. You keep doing your work. You keep spreading your legacy. You keep on giving back. Your time, which is the most important thing you have. Some of that treasure, yeah, some of that. But most importantly, your talent. We want to listen to you. And that's part of why we wanted to make sure you understood the valuable asset that you are to this university. And I'm so glad that so many of you have embraced this notion that you're part of the University of Massachusetts, Boston. And without you, there'd be no us. And so we're so grateful for that. I'm also grateful to the members of the steering committee for their voluntary leadership and their efforts in putting this event together. I want to begin by acknowledging University of Massachusetts Boston Alumni Association Board President. He's standing right here. Adrian Hagerbrook, why don't you wave your hand so folks can see our president. I know that Pat Armstrong is here, Ed Campanaro is here, Jack Cunningham, Jim Hunt, and Joe O'Brien are here. Wave your hands so we can see you. Okay, don't hide. All of them are part of our alumni committee. I also would like to extend the University of Massachusetts Boston welcome to Tom Manning, my colleague who comes to us as Deputy Chancellor of our world-class medical school that happens to be located in the middle of this state, but has unbelievable implications for the world. Now, I walked in here, and Tom brought with him a whole delegation from Worcester. Colleagues, you know, if I was thinking about calling one of them, now I've had a chance to say hello to all of them. Hi. Thank you all for coming. We're so grateful that you're here. They joined us this evening to honor one of our award recipients, Vice Chancellor Joyce Murphy, who you're going to hear from later. I also want to acknowledge, I know that the superintendent from Taunton Public Schools, Dr. Julie Hackett, is either here or on her way. I know how that traffic is because she's going to come because we are honoring tonight her assistant superintendent and award recipient, Stephen Leonard, a dear friend who's also a graduate and makes me know every day that he's a graduate of this institution and this entity of the institution. And finally, it's my pleasure to recognize the Boston State College alumnus who traveled all the way from North Carolina to be with us tonight. He is our award recipient, Dr. George Talbot. It's not just because he spent a lot of time in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, during his residency. That's not why he's being honored tonight. You'll hear about all those things later, but I had to throw in that commercial about Pittsburgh. Welcome back to Boston, to both you and the lovely bride. Thank you. And also, thank you all for coming. Everyone in this room, thank you for coming tonight. Now, every year we gather, there's a tremendous feeling of warmth and pride. And that warmth and pride extends throughout the Boston State alumni, faculty, and staff. But just as the college has had a tremendous impact on your lives, its legacy, as I've mentioned over and over and over to you, continues to permeate this campus every day. While its history is formally recognized in the Boston State College room, which is right down the corridor next door, the college's influence can also be seen in our academic programming and in our classrooms, our offices, where former Boston State faculty and staff bring their commitment to public higher education to this campus every day. On a daily basis, I have the wisdom and counsel of two former Boston State faculty who serve on my executive staff. They are Associate Chancellor Terry Mortimer, who's sitting up here, and our provost and academic leader, Winston Langley, who I mentioned earlier, and several of his former students and others have constantly mentioned and asked for. So here he is. He is here tonight, and we're so grateful that these two are partnering with us every day to move this university forward. I am also fortunate to have the privilege of leading the University of Massachusetts Boston during a period of tremendous growth in our prominence and in this campus and its future. I'm so glad it's a beautiful night out, where you can see where your campus has such a beautiful position out on this peninsula, looking out to the world from here on this ocean, but also looking back to the city that we stand with, and we've been so proud to stand with throughout our history. This city called Boston, one where there's none like it in the world, where people come together every day to learn. Here in your presence this evening, I'm also very aware that our position as a student-centered urban public research university and a leader in that field is an achievement made possible by the work that each and every one of you have done to make that. And there are so many people whose tenure is longer than mine who happen to be in this room, who have legacies back to Boston State that remind me of that every day, and I'm so grateful for them. It's also an achievement made possible by the dedicated faculty and staff at Boston State College, who founded and led programs and public service initiatives that have since become a hallmark of this university. You know who you are. You know where you sit in this room, and we're honored by your presence. We're so grateful for that. The core values that we have are fundamental parts of the work that you put forward, and we're so grateful for that. We are defined by that work. We'll never forget that work. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Excellence in teaching. Commitment to educating non-traditional students. Active engagement with the community. Lives on today at this university because of many of you in here. Your life's work on display for us is a wonderful blueprint to the future. We won't forget that. We're glad that you remind us of that. Your presence helps to do that. And for that, we're forever grateful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. These values find expression. People say, well, Keith, what do you mean by that? Why do you say that over and over again? Well, here's where you can find it if you want to look for it. You can find it expressed in the college's legacy as we celebrate this evening. You watch. You'll see something that reminds you of your experience as you listen to the lives of these people that we honor, and as you hear about your university from my colleagues that are surrounding you in this room and others that have had a chance to experience us lately. And so I ask again tonight, as I did 3 years ago when we dedicated the Boston State Room, to do what we owe to Boston State. The question is, what do we owe to Boston State? For our College of Nursing and Health Sciences, which U.S. News and World Report has ranked in the top 11% of the nation's nursing colleges and universities, we say, and I want you to say this with me, we're so proud of Boston State. Say that with me. We're so proud of Boston State. For the many publicly funded granted programs which we enrich our university's academic programs and strengthen our student support services, we say, we're so proud of Boston State. For our College of Education and Human Development, formerly the Graduate College of Education, which educates future teachers and education administrators and continues the legacy of the Boston Normal School begun in 1852. We say you can join with me now. We're so proud of Boston State. And so for our University of Massachusetts Boston faculty and staff who came from Boston State and whose commitment to public higher education and dedication to students has helped us make this Boston's great public research university, we say, let's hear it, we're so proud of Boston State. And for its graduates who embraced the college motto of education for service and served the Commonwealth and the nation as public servants in the fields of education, healthcare, law enforcement, just to name a few, we say, your turn now. We're so proud of Boston State. For these reasons, and so many more, countless contributions, it will always be important for the University of Massachusetts to remember, value, and build on the traditions and legacy of Boston State College. Tonight, we also celebrate our pride in our Boston State College alumni. In your professional lives and in your community involvements, you bring the knowledge and skills that you learned on Huntington Avenue in so many fields of endeavor. For many, the call to service is one that you embrace in careers, which you have dedicated yourselves to improving the quality of life in so many in towns through this Commonwealth and beyond. The Education for Service Award recognizes those who have made outstanding contributions in their field. Recipients, like the ones we honor this evening, truly embody the college motto and are a vital part of the college's tremendous legacy. I would like to congratulate tonight's winners again, alumni Stephen Leonard, Joyce Murphy, and George Talbot. Your accomplishments and your dedication to serve the community bring honor to your alma mater. On behalf of those students who will ultimately benefit from your generosity, all of you in this room, I'd also like to thank those who have contributed to the Boston State College Scholarship Fund. Through your gifts to this fund, You not only pay tribute to your alma mater, you help ensure the future generations of learners that will have access to a wonderful opportunity of higher education here at Boston's only public university. So in closing, I would like to issue a special invitation to those of you that are in the class of 1971. I want you to know that my wife and I have had a chance to be with the alumni who came here on campus from the class of 70, 69, yes, right, that's right. We party, you all closed down the whole campus center. Yeah. And so I trust that with the guidance of all of those that had their alumni events before you during our wonderful commencement weekend, that you'll bring great energy and enthusiasm to your festivities. I want you to see Joe DiMaderos. Where you at, Joe? Wave your hand over there. And Casey Gavin from our alumni office for further details on getting involved. So in closing, thank you all for being here tonight. I am so honored by your presence. We really appreciate you, and we want you to know every day that you're welcomed here. Remember, this is your university, in good times and in bad times. When it doesn't feel right, don't sit home and throw soda pop cans at the television. Call us up and help us, or come by and help us make it a better university. Remind us of the special part of you, because every day we wake up, we want it to be the best us that we can be. And that started with you. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to get out the way so that this program can continue and we can honor our alumni. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Okay. To the first, the proud graduate of Boston State College, Dr. Stephen Leonard. For 3 decades, you have dedicated your considerable professional knowledge and leadership talent to a singular mission: rebuilding urban public education. What drives you is a philosophy that all children can learn, and that it is the responsibility of educators, parents, and communities to work together to find the formula to make learning happen for each child. What you have done is what others simply could not do: turn around some of our city's most troubled schools. In you, the youth at the Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School and Boston English and the Jeremiah Burke High Schools found their architect for student success. Where disappointment and ineffectiveness were once the norm, you developed new models for learning, improved student performance, and paved a pathway to higher education. Your many local and national honors, including the prestigious selection as a member of the inaugural class of the Eli Broad Urban Superintendent's Academy, recognize your achievement as an outstanding public education leader. Today, in your current role as Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction in the Taunton Public Schools, and through your service on numerous nonprofit boards, you are a relentless champion for developing the talent potential of urban youth. Through your outstanding contributions in the field of urban public education, you personify Boston State College Education for Service motto and serve as an exemplar of the college's legacy. In recognition of your distinguished service and leadership, the University of Boston is proud to present you with the Boston State College Education for Service Award.
so used to going on the other one, I was getting ready to walk over there and make that major blunder.
Okay, there you go.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Before I say anything at all, I would like to say thank you to Dr. Carol Remick. I know that I'm standing here before you because she nominated me. I know that's what happened. And to tell the truth, when she told me about it, I just said, yeah. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a call that I was getting an award from Boston State College. And I am very proud to be a representative of that college. I need to tell you that I started school when I was 28 years old because I swore I didn't need to go to college. I fell in love with my wife, who had come in from Pittsburgh to go to Boston University, and I still didn't need to go to college. But I was working with children at the Roxbury Boys Club, and I was doing okay. And I was encouraging them to go to school and do this and do that. And they started saying, Steve, why should we go to school? You didn't go to school. And it hammered at me. So I said, well, let me give it a shot, but I'm only going for 4 years, and I'm never going again after that. To make a long story short, I went to school for the next 15 years. I got a full scholarship to Boston University because of the work that I did at Boston State College. The best part about that was that I didn't have to pay a thing, and that they gave me a stipend every month to make sure that I understood that I had to keep at least a B+ average. I represent all of the children in all of the urban schools that people don't believe in. I took my own excuse away. I had to believe in me because every time something that I thought I couldn't surmount came in front of me, there was somebody like Carol Remick or my wife or somebody nudging me in the rib saying, yes, you can. So today, I'm in the Taunton Public Schools. My superintendent is here, over there in the back hiding. And I was getting ready to retire again. And she gave me one of those elbows in the ribs and made me decide to try for a few more years. So I thank you all for honoring me. But as I say, anytime anybody gives me any kind of credit like this, all you've really done is given me more to reach for, and I thank you.
Harry.
To a proud Boston State College alumna, Joyce Murphy. Where are you, Joyce? Okay. In an eminent career that has expanded the fields of corrections, revenue collection, and health care, you have served the people of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts with distinguished and celebrated leadership. across a wide spectrum of professional roles, and through your service on numerous community organizations' boards of directors, you have brought exceptional talent to addressing the needs of our society's most vulnerable populations. Convicted offenders returning to the community, veterans needing health care, homeless and low-income women and children struggling to survive, single mothers seeking child support. These are just some of the many who have benefited from your advocacy. Most notable in your 16 years as a healthcare leader here in Dorchester, you've been recognized as the first hospital CEO recipient of the Massachusetts Hospital Association's William L. Lane Hospital Advocate Award for your outstanding efforts as president of Kearney Hospital. In the health and human service work at the St. Mary's Women and Children's Center you founded and led, we see a tremendous lasting influence of your vision to transform the lives of Boston's inner poor. Today, as Vice Chancellor and Chief Operating Officer for the Commonwealth Medicine, you advance healthcare policy, quality, and research. As our Commonwealth and nation pursues healthcare reform, your expertise and unwavering commitment to developing and implementing innovative solutions to healthcare issues are urgently needed. Through your outstanding contributions in the field of corrections, revenue collection, and healthcare, you personify Boston State College Education for Service model and serve as an exemplar of the college's legacy. In recognition for your distinguished service and leadership, the University of Massachusetts Boston is proud to present you with the Boston State College Education for Service Award.
Well, thank you for that very wonderful introduction. I sincerely appreciate it. So if you haven't paid your taxes, if you have an outstanding warrant, but if you go to prison, you'll get great health care. We'll take good care of you, so in any event. I'm really delighted to be here tonight for this 4th annual Boston State College celebration and the 3rd annual Service to Excellence Awards. Put on my glasses here. You know, I graduated in '74, so I definitely need these at this stage of the game. Boston State was a really easy choice for me when I was considering prospective colleges. Although some, including my father, suggested that I should think about a private college, because of the perceived better quality by some, I was convinced that Boston State was for me. It was the first and only consideration, in fact. My choice was clear. I was the first in my family to attend and graduate from college. And with many other siblings to come, I wanted to be able to work my way through school so that I could pay for my education. Though my parents offered to help financially, I thought, with so many behind me, it was not worth having my father work another seasonal job or another part-time job in addition to his full-time position and trying to help me to go to college. Again, supporting a family of 9 was challenging enough as the primary. Keith is moaning over here already. Don't worry. You only have 2 kids, right, Angela? Right, not to worry. 3, okay. So that was it for me. No more discussion. I knew I could commute from home, and I knew I could keep my job part-time as an insurance worker, and I could travel commuting back and forth to work on after-school days, Saturdays, and full-time summers. So I felt very confident that I would receive a high-quality education at Boston State at a cost-effective price, and I did. I was quite convinced upon entering Boston State that I wanted to be a teacher in the public school system. Yet after practice teaching in Mission Hill and volunteering additional hours to help kids, for those, nothing personal here, it gets better here.
That was it.
And truly volunteering with kids who were falling behind, I quickly learned of the many issues that interfered with these kids' ability to learn. Many of them arrived day after day without any breakfast and soiled clothing and no discipline or accountability and motivation to learn. Some had few positive role models, and I soon realized the futility of my efforts within that environment, given all of the external issues that were impacting these kids. So I decided I wanted to explore the idea of a career in the family court system, working with families under stress, and really helping to build them more effectively. So I took an introductory class in law enforcement, and I was hooked. And it wasn't because there were only 2 or 3 women in the law enforcement program, some of whom are here tonight. Bill Bratton was in my class, okay? So I was hooked after my first class and launched headfirst the following semester into family law, criminalistics, forensic psychiatry, and the like. And I never looked back. Beginning in my junior year, I had the honor of volunteering in the family court district court system, and I knew I had found my passion. Working with juveniles and young adults who did not have the encouragement, the support, and the opportunities that so many of us in this room tonight have had was very fulfilling. Not easy, but very fulfilling. I learned what a difference a person who cared, who listened, asked questions, and insisted on accountability could often make. Public service became my passion. After graduation, I worked briefly in a residential treatment center with emotionally disturbed adolescent girls. Actually, 2 years did not seem brief. And any of you who have either parented one adolescent girl who's not emotionally disturbed or have worked with them can imagine what managing 15 emotionally disturbed adolescent girls could be. So from there, I went straight to prison. I decided to go straight to adults. In 11 years, working within the Mass Department of Correction, I worked in numerous positions in correctional facilities, beginning as an entry-level case manager and culminating in superintendent of the state's only prison for women, MCI Framingham. Just when you thought you had seen everything, forget it. You had seen nothing. I worked with some of the most challenging and complex populations in some of the most difficult circumstances, but Boston State had prepared me well. And I'm not talking about what I observed at Punter's Pub. Although I did observe some interesting things there. I never participated, but I observed, okay? So after 15 years in public service, I decided that I wanted to transition full-time into healthcare services. A familiar theme, but a different sector. An exciting yet daunting opportunity came my way when the Caritas Christi healthcare system was searching for a vice president for St. Margaret's Hospital for Women right down the street here in Dorchester. The healthcare system had made the decision to close its inpatient hospital in Dorchester and move it to be affiliated with its tertiary umbrella in Brighton for patient care clinical reasons. But you can imagine in Dorchester, North Dorchester at this time, 40% of the folks living at or below the poverty line. St. Margaret's had been a cornerstone for 110 years in the community, sat on the sidewalk, tremendous concern about what was going to happen to the facility, as well as for women and children at risk. So I got a call from an executive search firm saying, we'd like to talk to you to see they're doing a recruitment for a VP for St. Margaret's, but it's really an 18-month job unless you can come up with a future. So I decided it certainly appealed to my entrepreneurial instincts. Again, the economic impact on the community of Dorchester, as well as services to high-risk women and kids, and having seen the impact of women in prison and what it does to them and the next generation and the long climb back, I thought, what a wonderful thing if I really could make a difference and establish services and an umbrella of care that could really help these women and kids, identify them early, and make a difference. So off I went to do that. After 5 years at the St. Mary's Women, I did establish it, and we're very successful. It's a very successful organization today, and we've redeveloped the entire hospital campus and provide a whole multitude of services under one umbrella. And it's really all focused on helping women in a crisis, helping women to change their lives, women who have been impacted by domestic violence or dependent on entitlements, to really change their lives, to give them the tools to ultimately take charge of their lives and that of their children. So after 5 years in North Dorchester, I was recruited to become the CEO of Kearney Hospital in South Dorchester, 2.5 miles away. So that was pretty good. So I was just driving back and forth up Dorchester Ave on a regular basis. And so for me, establishing the culture whereby doctors, nurses, and other patient care providers could break down the barriers across disciplines, work in teams, and serve our patients and our community at the highest possible level was a tremendous honor. And I always believed we are all part of the patient care team. I mean, everybody, from the time you walk in the door, the receptionist, the groundskeeper, we are all part of taking care of the patients. Education to service, for sure. After 9 years as CEO at Kearney Hospital and more than 3 decades of my professional life, I feel as though I've come full circle. I graduated from Boston State, as you know, now UMass Boston, in 1974. And now, for 5 years, I've been at UMass Medical School, back in the same system, the five-campus university system. Many of my colleagues and my boss, Deputy Chancellor Manning, are all here tonight, so thank you for being here. So given that and being back in UMass and also being here in Dorchester, it's an even greater honor for me to receive this service award. So I want to thank you. I also want to acknowledge these are my long-term girlfriends here that I met at Boston State. And they're all still kicking and looking pretty good for 74, don't you think? And also my better half, Bill Melanson, who's been very supportive of my career and all my crazy ideas. So thank you all. Thank you, Chancellor.
And to a proud Boston State College alumnus, Dr. George Talbot. From the lecture halls of the university to the theater of the current wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, you have forged an exceptional professional career in academia, government, medicine, and military service. After following your early calling as an assistant professor at Troy State University in the 1970s, you later pursued roles in city government. In the late 80s, more than 2 decades after completing your undergraduate degree, you enrolled in medical school and subsequently embarked on a new vocation in family medicine. Having joined the United States Army Reserve, you have also served our nation earlier this decade as a brigade surgeon in Afghanistan and a battalion surgeon in Iraq. You are now a major in the North Carolina Army Reserve National Guard and a family physician in Goldsboro, North Carolina. In all these endeavors, in a truly unconventional and most distinguished professional life, you have applied your intellect and skill to lead and serve others, and have demonstrated tremendous courage in taking risks, even risking your own life for the American ideals you cherish. At any age, when many would choose comfort and security, you answered an uncommon call. To the wounded soldier, the newly diagnosed and the sick child, and the worried, you have brought an unparalleled life perspective and an exceptional commitment to medical care. And for that, you have earned our greatest esteem. Through your outstanding contributions in the field of higher education, government, medicine, and military service, you personify Boston State College Education for Service motto and serve as an exemplar of the college legacy. In recognition for your distinguished service and leadership, the University of Massachusetts Boston is proud to present you with the Boston State College Education for Service Award.
I'm really quite honored. I owe a lot to State. I was the early part of the baby boomers. When I was in high school, my high school advisor guidance counselor asked me why I wanted to go to college. My father was a city employee. I could get a job with the city. Why was I taking a slot away from somebody who deserved it? Being stubborn, I didn't listen to him. I really owe it to state because they gave me the opportunity to go out and make the most of myself. But life is full of flukes. One of the best things that ever happened to me, when I got there, my mother and father said, "You got to be a doctor, you got to be a doctor." I signed up for just getting the classes out of the way and to move them out. And Dr. David Soothalter was setting up a program for comparative government at state. And he was trying to recruit people. I went in there and he tried to recruit me and I said, absolutely not. I want nothing to do with it. I want to get my ticket punched and move on. James Todd fell for the spiel and took the ticket from Soothalter. I felt sorry for him. I said, well, I'm not going to do anything with political science. I'll take the ticket and do it. That class and my experience at state with the political science department really turned me on to poli sci. So when I got my master's and my PhD, then after I'd done that, then I decided I better get back to medicine. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, in conclusion, a very wise man I could count on for words of wisdom was Robert Fulghum, author of All I Really Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. As I grow older and much wiser, these simple words have become a worthwhile guide to my newfound maturity. Share everything. Play fair. Don't hit people. Put things back where you found them. Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that are not yours. Say you're sorry when you hurt someone. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and milk are good for you. Live a balanced life. Learn some, think some, draw, paint, sing, dance, play, and work every day some. Take a nap every afternoon. When you go out into the world, watch out for traffic and stick together. Be aware of wonder. I share these simple but thought-provoking words with you because I was taught to share and to think at Boston State. Congratulations to all our honorees. Thank you, and have a nice evening.